Have I ever done a spider check in a miniature locker? Nope, but I'm about to. Die, evil spiders. Hold on, let's check. Aha! Whew! That was a close one. Anyways, I've had this locker for years. In fact, this was my older sister's in high school. And then she gave it to me. And now I'm going to destroy it. Sort of. Snap. Okay, I'm going to make it into a haunted hidey hole. Because that's a way better use for it than just sitting on my shelf collecting dust. So I'm going to make it look old with this patina. And I sped up the video so you can watch the patina do its work. Ooh, isn't it satisfying? Look at that. It looks super old now. I mean, I know it's old before, but I'm not that old to make it look like this old. Do you know what I mean? Anyways, I'm going to be adding lights to this. I mean, you could have guessed that. I had lights to most of my things, but I just got to get my light box out. You know, my box full of lights. And I got to pick out some good looking lights. Once I make my selection, I have to cut the umbilical cord. And then since the lights are so far apart on the strand, I like to twist them together so that they're a little bit closer. That way they're easier to install. Also, they don't get tangled up as easily. Flick. Cha-cha. Now I'm just making the overhead light. Hi-ya. You know, like one of those fluorescent lights that we all hate. At least I hate them. Nothing is more scarier than walking into a building and there's overhead fluorescent lights. I get an immediate headache. I don't know why. Am I weird? Probably. Anyways, I know this is confusing to look at, but I flipped the box upside down. Oh, now it's upside right. And look at that, we got overhead lighting. I know it doesn't really look like overhead lighting, but I'm working with what I got, okay? Shakety shake. And you might be wondering at this point, what kind of build am I doing? And why am I adding red tape to the back of this? Well, you're going to find out, don't worry. Oh, look, it's my hand. But first we have to say hi to Agatha. It's required. Hi, Agatha. And I guess we're going to take a little Agatha break because she demands it. And what Agatha wants, Agatha gets. Sure, I could close the door to my studio, but then you would miss out on the Air Biscuit pause. You can't say no to this. And do you know what else you can't say no to? Subscribing and pressing that like button. I thought I'd give it a shot. Anyways, now we got to pick a little bit of Agatha off our project. And then we gotta pick a little bit of our project off of Agatha. And now that our Agatha break is over, let's get on with this project because we can't just look at Agatha. Wait, can we? No, I mean, she's cute, but that would get boring fast. Shasha. So what are we doing today, you might be asking? At least I would be asking that. I don't know about you. Maybe you're not a curious person. Maybe you don't ask strange questions to your videos because that would be weird. And you're not weird. Anyways, in the past, I've had a lot of people suggest that I do a haunted hidey hole school. And I do read your comments. So this one's been on my list for a while. So what perfect haunted hidey hole vessel than a miniature locker, complete with miniature chalkboard. Did you see that eraser? It was miniature and adorable, but it's not as adorable as this piece of chalk. And if you've guessed already by now, that little help me that I carved into that chalkboard will hopefully glow red, you know, once we turn on the lights. That's the idea anyway. Okay, so I'm gonna split up this locker into 3 sections. The top section is gonna be a classroom, you know, with the chalkboard. And then the middle section with the tile is gonna be a cafeteria. Because the scariest thing in a school are the lunch ladies with their various mystery meats and strange mystery goops. And then I wanna make this door look like it goes all the way into the back, you know, where the lunch ladies make their lunches or whatever creepy things they do back there. And then what's creepier than the cafeteria? The boiler room? Actually, yes, that would have been creepier. But you know what? I'm not doing that because I've done that in the past. In fact, I've done many different boiler rooms, and the story's always the same. The boiler ends up eating the children. Or in my unethical insane asylum, the boiler cooked the patients into different flavors of soup. Or if you remember, in my mall, the boiler room ground up the customers and made them into noodles. I mean, it's always been a boiler room, turning people into different types of food. In fact, I don't know if you know this, but most of my videos, if you rip off that mask Scooby-Doo style, there's a boiler behind them. Shasha. And I don't want to do that again because I've done it. I'm not a one-trick unicorn. I'm a fabulous multi-tricked unicorn. This is going way off the rails. Anyways, all that to say, shwabam, this is not a boiler room. So what other scary thing could be in a school and also probably maybe resides in the basement and is not a scary janitor, which also would have been a cool thing. But nope. Instead, it's a scary super duper monitoring supercomputer that monitors the children super duper well, watching their every move. That way the faculty can catch them and make them into super duper soup. This is not the same story. Did you not see the supercomputer? It's totally different. Okay, fine. Maybe they don't turn them into soup, but being monitored would be really creepy. Maybe they're using it to run experiments on the children. Or maybe they're using it to brainwash the children. Or maybe the supercomputer has a mind of its own and it just took over and it now runs the school and nobody's the wiser. Or maybe all of the above. I mean, it does kind of look like Hal, from that movie.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Whatcha! Anyways, a super duper monitoring computer needs monitors. And luckily, I have all these old, what are these called? Film squares? Projector pictures? I don't know. But I have to find just the right ones. Something that would look like the inside or the outside of a school. Luckily, I have a lot of options to pick from. But I did finally pick a few, and then I just ripped the film out of the little square thing and install them into my monitors. I picked mostly like outdoor buildings because that's what I had. And I'm hoping people don't look too closely. They're just like vague shapes of building. But I did make sure that there were some indoor things too, because you can't just be monitored outdoors, you gotta be monitored indoors. And I'm guessing the monitors can be flipped to other rooms. I mean, of course they can, because this is my haunted hidey hole and I make the rules. I mean, I know that there would be more screens than this, but I'm working with the space I have, okay? And you get the idea. And don't tell me you don't, because I know that you do get the idea. So stop being difficult. Shwabam. Next I'm doing the cafeteria snap floor and the ceiling to the supercomputer room. Is that what we're calling it? The supercomputer room? I don't know. I guess so. Ooh, so I printed out these little posters just to, let everybody know that they're being watched and to keep to the rules. That way the students obey. I don't know why the watcher needs to know that they're being watched because they're doing the watching, but it is important for them to know that obedience is safety. Although maybe the watcher is also a victim. I mean, look at that help sign. They were obviously trying to alert somebody. Maybe there's another level of monitoring, like the monitors also have to be monitored for maximum monitoringness. I don't know, but no creepy school would be complete without propaganda. This one says, eat your meat, even if it looks weird. I mean, most schools have mystery meat, right? Or is that just a TV thing? I feel like my school did. They probably didn't call it mystery meat though. Oh, and see these trays? This is the whole reason why I did this whole build. So my daughter, who saves interesting things for me to use, collected these trays from her Krabby Patty gummies. And she told me that I should do a cafeteria with them and fill them with little foods. So that's what I'm doing because I thought that was a really good idea. Does the food appear to be small children organs? Maybe. But I can tell you one thing, that these body parts were not extracted in the boiler room. Okay, maybe they were. I mean, honestly, what is a boiler room for other than extracting body parts from people? Do I even know what a boiler room? I'm going to be really disappointed if I go in a boiler room and there isn't at least one dismembered body part laying on the floor somewhere. Anyways, so I did 3 different trays. I did some tummy noodles, and then these are the meatball eyes. And then of course I had to do the mystery meat with glow-in-the-dark sauce, because nothing's creepier than when your sauce glows in the dark. I mean, what kind of sauce is that? Some sort of mind control sauce? Probably. In fact, that would make a great story. Let's run with it. And I am using the word great loosely here. Okay, so this boarding school, because boarding schools are scarier than regular schools, I think. They've been monitoring their students very closely because they've been experimenting on them by putting glow-in-the-dark weird stuff in their food. See, look at it glow. I know, they've been extracting the mind control powers from mushrooms and putting it in the food, but oh, hold on, here comes another Agatha break. Any minute, she'll move. And back to the story. The students have been eating the food and been being mind controlled, but you know what? The mushroom mind control powers were stronger than they expected. Ha-cha-cha. Snap. And it not only affected the students, but also the teachers. So both students and teachers are being mind controlled. And by what, you ask? Remember that super duper computer in the not boiler room? Well, it turns out that the supercomputer, this was its plan the whole time. It wanted to play the school like a gigantic Sims game. So now both students and teachers are stuck in this weird loop. Oh, right, look, I accidentally made the floor too big, and now my locker won't shut. But it's okay. I'll just trim the floor. Anyways, where was I? Right. So all the humans are stuck in a weird loop where everyone's being controlled by the supercomputer in the basement, not the boiler room. And I know you might be asking, well, what about the food in the cafeteria? Shwabam. Good question. Snap. Why would a supercomputer feed their humans what looks like body parts? Because DoorDashers ask a lot of questions, okay? And the last thing that the computer wants is people asking questions. That's how you get shut down. And you risk getting all your Sims being released back into the wild. And nothing's sadder than when your parents have to tell you, Ashley, you can't play The Sims for 18 hours. Go outside. And why are you sitting in a dark boiler room? Shut up, Mom. I'm an adult. Anyway, so the computer knows without food, the people are gonna cease to exist. And the computer won't have anyone to control then. So it's been feeding the people Soylent Green style. And if you didn't know,
Silent Green is people!
and you know, this lasts as long as you'd expect. Shorter if it's a small school, longer if it's a bigger school, because there's only so many slabs of meat. Anyway, so slowly the people have been waking up because, I don't know, I guess they're becoming immune to the mind-controlling mushrooms. I don't know why they're waking up, but they are, slowly, for super short periods of time. But that only lasts for like a brief second, just long enough for them to write help me on things. Or draw pictures, like this one, to warn people, or maybe warn themselves that they need to get out of there. But then it's right back to being a mindless zombie, which personally I think is way creepier than being a full-time zombie. You know what's going on, sort of, but you can't do anything about it, which means maybe they're like trapped in their bodies too, and they can like see what's happening. But when you're being mind controlled, it's not like you could change it. Anyways, look at my cute pencil. Is that not freaking adorable? And look, I got 2 adorable pencils made out of toothpicks. And then I had to add some graffiti to the desk. And these kids aren't learning anything. They're being mind controlled, so they can't spell. Although if you're being mind controlled by a computer, you probably could spell. It doesn't matter. Don't think about it too hard. Instead, just look at my adorable desk. But before we add our desk, I have to put a carpet of random papers on the floor. I mean, these kids are being mind controlled. They're not going to be picking up paper. So then I was thinking the spores from the food are going to be floating around in the air. And if they can't even pick up paper, they're not going to be cleaning the spores off of things. So you're going to have mushrooms growing everywhere, which just adds to the mind controllingness of people. And also, I just wanted to use these little mushrooms because they're cute. Oh, and then because I am Ashley, hi, I had to add a random octopus. I don't know how that fits in the story. Maybe the mushrooms alter their DNA and they slowly become monsters. I don't know. And no, this is not The Last of Us, because I've never actually played that game and I don't even know what the story is. Anyways, so I was looking at this top area. Ooh, wait, look at all the glow-in-the-dark stuff. Anyways, so I was looking at this top area and you really can't read the help me. And I think it's because of these lights at the top. See, when I cover them, you can read it better. So even though fluorescent lights are scary, I'm going to cover them up. I know we worked so hard on them, but it's okay because it'll look way better, I think. And look at that, it does. It shows up way better. And with that, we're done. Let's look at it all together. So we got our classroom, complete with creepy chalkboard. And then we have our cafeteria with our mind control mushroom mystery meat, or for short. And then our bottom floor, which is not a boiler room. It's a mind control monitoring super duper computer room. TM, nobody can use that name because it's super awesome. Anyways, and then let's look at it in the dark. Ooh, what do you guys think? Don't forget to follow me and like my video and maybe comment if you want to. I mean, only if you actually liked the video. It really helps me out. Also, I just wanted to remind you that I have a creepy crafts book if you're interested. You can make your own creepy crafts. Link is wherever I put links, probably below. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you like this video, check out these other videos. Okay, thanks. Bye. Goodbye. Adios. Ciao. Hasta la vista, baby. Okay, bye.